Attention. Due to the nature of the films discussed, the Civil Gore podcast may contain adult language and themes.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 58 of the Civil Gore podcast. I am your host, Tim.
And this is Brian. And this is an exciting episode today because we got our first, well, it's not our first suggestion, but it was the best time suggestion we got from one of our Twitter followers, LouBou. She had suggested to do a movie, and we were like, okay, well, that's thanks for letting us know. We'll check it out. And we actually had a vacant opening. We did not have a movie planned.
That's right. So it was perfect timing.
Yes.
So we decided to just go ahead and knock that one out. So we are bringing to you tonight the movie DOGHOUSE. I believe that's from 2009.
Yes.
A British dark comedy, and if you are a fan of movies like Shaun of the Dead and The World's End, you will really love this one. It's right on up there in that same kind of tone, dark horror comedy tone.
Yeah, a lot of fun, fun characters and everything, which, but of course, we'll get to in our main featurette. But yeah, so thanks, LouBou. But we'll talk about that more as we get down to our main feature section.
So first up, we have a really nice big first chop that I can't wait to get into. So let's kick it off right now. So arguably the biggest news of the week, Brian, is that we have our Halloween Horror Night trip booked.
Yes, officially booked. I know we told you all about it, but I'm sure some of you were like, they say they're going to do this and they don't do it. Like, it took Brian 9 attempts to get to the Retro Picture Show, and now they're talking about this major vacation they're planning. But no, we have booked it.
The money is down.
Yes.
The down payment has been paid.
Yes.
It is locked.
We can't get out of it even if we tried, but we wouldn't want to try.
No. So we will be down at Halloween Horror Nights towards the end of September. We're going early before the big Halloween crowds go.
Which I like. I like that because the weather could still be warm out there in Florida. We'll get some pool time. We get some nice weather where it'll be nice. Hopefully it will get, because I think the sunset will probably hit around 7:30, 8 o'clock maybe, where we'll start to get really dark. So it'll be good. We'll have a couple of hours in the park to get the lay of the land with the way where all the scare zones are before it really starts to pick up and go into full horror mode. So that'll be kind of fun.
Right now, Brian, this is your first Halloween Horror Nights, correct?
Yes. Not my first time at Universal. I've been to Universal. Actually, I think this will be my third time going to the Orlando Resort. But Tim, you haven't been there in a while, period, right?
Right. I have not been since our wedding anniversary. Our honeymoon, even further back. That was 2002, so it's been 16 years since I've been to Universal, so it has completely changed, just like 2 whole new parks to me. Obviously, I've never seen Harry Potter. I've never seen any of the screen rides they do.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how long ago it's been.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, it's going to be a double bonus for me, because not only is it my first Halloween Horror Nights, it's really, in a sense, my first trip to the modern Universal.
Oh, you're in for a treat. I mean, because I know you'll just between like the Mummy Alone ride and Jurassic Park and Reign of Kong, which I actually haven't been on either, so that'll be a first for me. So it'll be a lot of fun. We'll make sure we bring you plenty of content, even though we said we know we're kind of like going as a vacation first here, but we still, of course, cannot miss the advantage of being there together, and we'll record a bunch of content. So
right, yeah, we'll be probably posting some videos, I'd imagine. We'll definitely have a big review episode when we get back.
Oh, yeah.
Tell you about all the houses. And if any of you guys are going to be down there towards the end of September, hit us up on Twitter. Let us know where you're going to be. Maybe we can meet up for a beer or something.
Yes, definitely. We'll probably be wearing our nice Civil Gore shirts proudly, so you'll spot us a mile away.
That's right. I'm very much looking forward to that trip, but it's a ways out. We got a couple more trips between the both of us, I think, yeah. Brian, some big coaster trips, but that one's definitely high on my radar. But next up on the rundown is Channel Zero, The Dream Door. This is the next season of the Channel Zero series, which I absolutely love. I have not watched Butcher Block yet, which is the 3rd season.
I know, and I'm still behind. I barely started that middle one you told me about with No End House. I still need to finish that one.
Yeah, it's just tough with the great TV that's out there right now. It's very tough to just watch it all, but I will get to it eventually at some point. But anyway, Channel Zero, The Dream Door is going to be directed by Evan Katz, and it's going to star Brandon Scott, who was also in Butcher Block, Maria Sten, Stephen Robertson, and Steven Weber. And this one will be based, as all of the seasons are, on another creepypasta story called The Hidden Door. So I'm not familiar with that story, but I'll have to go read it now to see what's up with this season. The Channel Zero series, it takes a lot of liberties with the creepypasta. Obviously, to make an entire season, it expands it significantly, but the core idea is usually pretty cool.
I have to say, I think Olive Garden missed a big tie-in here with these things, because they could offer creepypasta on their menu, wouldn't?
Creepypasta Tuesdays.
Really? Seriously?
With all you can eat breadsticks.
Exactly. Or dead sticks.
Yeah, dread
sticks. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, Olive Garden, we have spoken. We expect that on the menu. You have still months away to prepare that, and then we'll come in and you'll thank us.
That's right. Yeah, these shows are so good. Like, if you have not watched any of the Channel Zero series, as a horror fan, I beg you to watch them, because they are more extreme horror than you're used to seeing on television. I don't mean that in a violent and gory way per se, but it's just more intense horror, for lack of a better word, than you're typically used to seeing. The only thing I think that matches it or probably exceeds it is American Horror Story.
I was going to say, that sounds like something that would be close to that, but
yeah, that one gets pretty extreme. And then the Hannibal series was probably broke the record in terms of actual gore. But Channel Zero, I would put right on up there with the best horror on television, period.
Yeah, I need to finish that one. As the summer approaches, I mean, it's funny, you would think I'd have less time, but, during the week, there's not as many. I know it's not like it used to be where there's no first run TV or anything going on, but, my Mets are not doing well anymore, so what am I watching on TV at night, So I'll probably catch up with a lot of my horror stuff over the summer.
I'm trying to catch up on all those anthologies. I almost finished with Night Gallery.
Oh, that's right. And I have the whole set. I have the whole series. I got to start that too.
Yeah, there were some classic ones I watched today, actually, that were really, really good. But next up on our rundown, Brian.
Yes.
Wouldst thou like to pop deliciously?
I was going to say, would I like to collect it deliciously? Yeah, so I found it on, I think it was Bloody Disgusting had posted that apparently Funko has made a pop vinyl of one of, I know, Tim and I, one of our favorite characters, probably out of all the Civil Gore movies, it's definitely one he stood out. And that, of course, is Black Phillip from The Witch. His famous line that Tim and I just quoted and butchered, possibly. And I'm still on the hunt. Every time I look for that Black Phillip cider that I cannot find, because I forgot. I think it's based out of Chicago, so probably it doesn't distribute probably well. But yeah, so I'm looking. But this is a pop vinyl, which I think I will need to own. I will look for this.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm sorry. I love the pop vinyls. I know some people don't like them because they're really, it's basically a very generic character slapped with a license, right? And I get it.
They own every license. It's amazing.
I know, that's what's cool. And I know that it doesn't resemble the character necessarily all the time, but there's something about them. I just love them. I love the little boxes that they stack so nicely on the shelf.
Yeah, they're just great.
Anytime I see pop vinyls, I am rummaging through looking for anything horror. I actually found a Bride of Chucky Tiffany.
Oh, nice.
One at Walmart the other day, and they had mispriced her. They said it was $8.88, and I brought it up to the register, and it was $12. I was like, "Are you kidding me? These things are normally $10." Yeah. So I passed on it, but I still wish I kind of had it because I don't run across the horror ones very often here. I think our Books A Million probably has the biggest selection of them in town.
Oh, right, yeah, and I think Barnes & Noble does.
Yeah, our Barnes & Noble doesn't have very many horror at all.
Well, we have a great one of the best selection I've seen is at our local mall. We have one of those Newberry Comics. I think they're kind of like a chain comic store. Comics, it's funny. The comic section is probably the smallest out of all the things they sell. They have a lot of great horror items and collectible items, and they have just literally a wall. The back wall is all Funko. And, Toys R Us used to have a great collection, too. But, of course, we know that's not going to be the case soon anymore. Target has a decent one, but they tend not to have the horror ones.
Yeah, it's hard to find the horror. There's a store in Myrtle Beach. It's a comic collectible store, kind of like what you're talking about. It's at their outlet mall, and that's got the biggest selection of horror ones I've ever seen. They pretty much had every horror pop vinyl that I've ever even knew about.
Oh, wow.
So if I ever get down to Myrtle Beach where I'm not in a rush. The last time I was there, I was kind of with family, and we didn't have really a lot of time to look. But next time I'm down there, a dedicated trip, I think I'm going to go in there and just raid that place for horror vinyls.
And they just opened a big factory in outside of Seattle. I saw it on Comic Book Man. And this place looked like they almost looked like a theme park, but without rides. It was like so crazy. They had like giant sized ones that you could pose with. And it was like a slide. I mean, it made Google look like a library kind of thing. It was like, you know, it was like amazing some of the stuff they had there. So I assume they give tours. I would assume you could get like a tour of the facility if you arrange it or something. I don't know. Maybe they offer it. I haven't looked into it enough yet, but I'll tell you, if I'm in that area, I'm sure gonna go try and check that out. My dream, of course, would be they do a Civil Gore 2-pack of Tim and I, which would be the best. So anyone who knows anyone out at the company or something, you know, suggest it. You know,
Funko Civil Gore, that would be awesome.
It'd be a great addition to your collection. It'd be like those exclusive ones that not everyone would have, so you'd have like a collectible piece. You know, it'd be kind of fun.
That's odd though that those have not waned in popularity. Like, you know, I would think the bottom would crash on those things like Beanie Babies at some point, but they're still going strong. I mean, I guess people are still buying them.
You know what it is?
I'm buying them.
Because here, I think it kind of stretches across appeal wise to you know, both, you know, obviously men and women, kids, you know, and there's that cuteness quality to it. So there's people there that may not even buy collectibles whatsoever, but they look and they see it sitting there at their Target and they say, oh, what a cute little thing, not even knowing that there's an entire series of every single thing you can imagine has a pop vinyl. I mean, I'm sure there is someone out there that probably owns every one. And you know, that person will probably say, like, you know, there's like 43,000. God knows what, you know, how many they have. But,
oh my God, I would love to see.
But yeah,
I've seen some people that just have entire walls from floor to ceiling stacked. Like, you see them post pictures on Twitter sometimes. I follow Funko on Twitter, so sometimes people post their collections and they're just incredible. But you know, it's a good price point too. They're relatively inexpensive. So they make good gifts probably, because you know, if you can find one for any kind of pop media or IP out there. So I mean, they make great little gifts. You know, if somebody's into Game of Thrones, well, hey, here's a Game of Thrones pop vinyl.
Yeah, video games. I mean,
yeah, anything.
Sports. They even have the sports. They've appealed now. They've even crossed over from the nerd to the sports fan. And if you're like me who loves both, forget it. That's why I never really got into it too heavily, because I literally have no money to spend, because I'd buy and everything. I have a very modest collection. I have like my 11 that I have at work sitting on a thing, and I have a bunch of because for Star Wars I have some Rey collectibles. I think I have a Kylo Ren. I have a Jyn Erso. And I do want to buy the Lando one, because the Lando, I cannot wait for my. Oh, by the way, I got this after we recorded last time. I got my solo tickets, so got those for Thursday night. Yep. So yeah, speaking of that, so but I definitely want the Lando figure out of that, because he's always got the cool like cape and everything, and he's just like he's always been one of my favorite characters and favorite action figures to begin with. So
well, next up, we have Happy Death Day 2 starts filming this month, which will be nice.
Yeah.
Of course, starring Jessica Roth, Israel Broussard, and Ruby Modine.
Yes, who plays, I forgot her first name, but the roommates, and her last name Spengler, which was one of our trivia questions back when we did trivia.
So this will be interesting. This should expand on the background and the history of the whatever this is.
Yeah, that's what they said. They said it supposedly takes place immediately after the first film ends, and it really like broadens it, so it's not so much of a it almost becomes outside of the horror movie, almost into like a whole like genre of itself kind of a thing, like almost like a Back to the Future type of thing. And I heard someone refer to in one of the articles, so it's gonna be really interesting. And both of us were big fans of the first movie, so I'm bring it on. I say I can't wait.
And Brian, I'm going to let you take this next one, because you're the one that discovered this. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I found this guy on Facebook. I think he was shared by on Facebook through another post. It's A&C Creations, and what caught my eye was that he had these incredible Adirondack chairs that were themed to horror icons. He had the ones that I saw were Freddy and Michael Myers, and like he had the head of Michael Myers, like the mask at the edge of one of the arms of the chair, And for the Freddy one, he had the glove at the end of the chair, and it was amazing. I shared it on our Facebook page, and he wrote right back to us and was thanking us for it. And I'm like, oh, absolutely. We'll make sure we mention this on the show because these are amazing. And he's based out of South Carolina. It's A&C Creations. We'll put the even though I shared it on Facebook, we'll make sure we put it in the rundown, the link to his page. He also does a great amount of horror prints, which I saw some Jason, Freddy, again, Michael Myers. I believe I saw a Pinhead in there. So he's obviously really talented with his creations, and the fact that he does horror, I mean, counts us in. So yeah, so Tim, you're close. You may be able to go drive down there and pick up some chairs.
Yeah, there you go.
You get it. So when I come to visit, you could sit in the Michael Myers one, I'll sit in the Freddy one, and then we'll swap, and it'll be fun.
Yeah, I put those out on the deck. Those will look good out on my deck.
Yeah, and I'm sure the kids won't be frightened or anything.
Yeah.
Livia may have an issue, but other than that.
The kids come in my office all the time, and I've got
true.
Literally framed pictures of Leatherface on the wall, so they're kind of immune to it by this point.
That's true. And actually, that would make a great photo op of them sitting in the individual chairs.
Yeah. So my alphabet project continues. I'm on letter C this week, and so I'm trying to pick them off Shudder when I can. I don't know why, just because I feel like sometimes I neglect Shudder in favor of Netflix or Amazon Prime. Not for any reason, because Shudder has a fantastic selection, don't get me wrong. Right. But sometimes it's just easier when you're scrolling through Netflix to click on something versus going out to Shudder.
Yeah, because Shudder, you got to go through the genre, the different their named genres. Yeah. So sometimes it's and they update, but a lot of times things will stay for a long time. Like, thank God Merville the Clown is still on there, so if ever I want to hear that theme song, I could just pop it on, but yeah.
Well, my only criticism of Shudder is it's a little harder to navigate than, say, Netflix.
Right.
I'd say it's probably on par with Amazon Prime, because Amazon Prime has a terrible navigation too, but neither one of those touches Netflix in terms of just being able to find something to watch. But Shudder, you basically have to look through categories, or you have to look through alphabetically, which actually works well in this case. But
oh yeah, for you that's perfect right now.
But yeah, so I'm trying to give Shudder some love basically with this project. So one of the few C movies that I had not seen, which is kind of crazy because this is kind of a classic, was C.H.U.D.
Wow.
From, I believe it was 1984.
It's way back. Yeah, definitely.
I have to double
80s.
check.
I can't remember.
It's early 80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, C.H.U.D. was one of those that I've seen the box art countless times. I've looked at this movie. I've probably picked it up and looked at the back of it countless times. It's just one of those weird movies that for whatever reason you just never got around to seeing and just fell through the cracks. That was this one for me. I had never seen it, and it was quite enjoyable. It stars a very young John Hurd.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And also has a very young, and I'm trying to look up his name because it's the dude from Home Alone.
Well, that was John Hurd, I thought. Or is another Home Alone
Daniel Stern.
Oh my God,
Daniel
there's a Home Alone reunion before it came out.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot John Hurd was the dad.
Yeah.
You're right. That's funny. Yeah, no, I was talking about Daniel Stern, the criminal.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, both of them are in this movie, which has kind of shocked me because I had no idea. And yeah, so this one's about basically some mutated underground homeless people that are attacking and killing civilians in New York. And it's kind of reminded me a little bit of Q in a sense, Q the Winged Serpent, because it's kind of like a detective crime story wrapped around a horror film and a monster film. So, I mean, it was pretty entertaining for what it was. I enjoyed it. So that was C.H.U.D. Now, D is going to have a boatload of titles to choose from.
Oh my God, anything.
There's all these Draculas and Daughters of Dracula and DDD Dracula stuff all day long. So that'll be an exciting one to take a look at. And as far as the backlog project, I did finish the Thing disc finally. So that one's behind me. So next up, we're going to be hitting some of those new, not new, since they're from the 30s. They're decidedly not new, but new to me. Some of the later Mummy films.
Oh, nice.
Like the third and fourth Mummy films. So those are coming up.
Yeah, and actually C.H.U.D. stood for like cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers, right? That's what the actual.
Well, yes, but also in the movie I caught this. At one point they call it something else. They say something about I can't remember. So you C.H.U.D. fans don't knock me for this, but I'm just trying to
because
remember.
I haven't seen this way back since it was on cable.
Yeah,
so.
it was something like, she goes, this stands for containment, something underground disposal. Talking about the radioactive waste that they were trying to contain. So it actually has two meanings.
Oh,
it's the cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers or whatever, but it's also the containment of hazardous unit disposal or something.
So you know what they probably did? They probably just came up with, they randomly picked these letters and then just came up with like 40 different things that it could stand for, and they couldn't think of which one to pick, so they just wrote CH.U.D as the.
I don't know. I thought it was kind of clever that they mentioned two different things in the movie that it could stand for.
I think we should probably come up with our own too at some point, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll come up with one.
Civil Gore. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know, if you guys think of one, send this one. We'll come up with one for next week because I wasn't prepared for this bit.
Yeah.
I come up with a two bit. But actually, it's funny that you mentioned Q because I wanted to. I didn't think this was necessarily rundown worthy per se, but it kind of, I guess, organically now came into it because you said Q. I discovered this streaming app called Popcorn Flicks where it's a bunch of like, I guess, movies for free that stream, and there's a horror section, and Q is in there. So for those of you who have not seen it yet, you could see it free by doing the Popcorn Flicks app. So
there you go.
They have some decent stuff, like Sleepaway Camp is on there, Night of the Demons, The Final Terror, Dreamscape, Nosferatu. But yes, Phenomena and Manos, The Hands of Fate, they have those. So there's a ton of decent horror things, and it's free on here.
Cool.
So yeah, you got to try it out. Of course, they have some other award winners you may have heard of, like Night of the Naked Dead. So I don't know, I don't know where this.
I don't know if I want to see that.
But Tim, one of your favorites is on here. Creature from the Black Lagoon is on this site.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, so you gotta check this out. Just Popcorn Flicks, and it's free app to download, and I think it's just free streaming. So I don't know how they necessarily get away with it, or what the deal is. But there's your chance to see Q if you haven't seen it.
Well, next up, we have another Friday the 13th event. This for the July 13th, Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
And this is a free event on the Intrepid.
Yeah, the Intrepid Air and Museum, which is the ship out in it's out in New York City, and they actually it's a museum that you walk on, and it's kind of like that thing I think you went on in North Carolina. You went on that big ship.
Mm-hmm. The USS
yeah,
North Carolina.
It's like that. And they actually have so apparently they have an outdoor movie series, and on Friday the 13th, they're showing the original Friday the 13th, which would kind of be cool. I mean, but, I think also the Retro Picture Show is having that, their event, I think, which is Halloween. Friday the 13th, 5 and 6, I think, is that day. So now I'm torn. I mean, I kind of like, it's like Retro Picture Show definitely easier to get to. The Friday the 13th on the Intrepid, though, is free.
Cool. And lastly, we have another contribution from one of our followers.
Yeah, so I know I've shared this updates on stuff about this movie before, but it's Sargad, I hope I pronounced that right. Basically translates to wounded. And it's one of those revenge horror films, kind of in the vein, supposedly, of, I Spit on Your Grave, stuff like that. And it's by a writer. She actually wrote this, produced this, and does the makeup for, and stars in it, which is, I don't know if you might have seen her. She does Sarah of Horror is her Twitter and Instagram, and she also hosts the show Bitches of Horror on YouTube, a podcast. And so I definitely wanted to check it out because she keeps promoting it, and it sounds so cool. So she was actually saying how there was about 10 left, and I've always wanted to see this, so I purchased it, and I got it. It came from Sweden. It was very exciting. So I think it's maybe my first thing I ever received from Sweden.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to check it out. Unfortunately, it came today right before we went on to record, so I did not get to watch it yet, but I will watch it this week, and I'll be able to give a review next week as I'm looking forward to seeing this.
Awesome. All right, well, we have an interesting Discmemberment this week. All kinds of goodies for you, so let's get right to it. This is our Discmemberment for May 15th, 2018.
Wait, no, please, God. No, don't call up,
All right, Brian, I got to crack open a beer for this one because this is a trilogy.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, you mean you didn't have your beer
drinking.
open? I was on this is my second one. I'm drinking my Panther.
I'm pacing myself. This is a Wicked Weed Tropic Most Passion Fruit Ghost.
Oh, that's that one you had your picture. I wanted to see.
Yeah, that's the one I posted on Instagram. It's so good. It's very refreshing. You might as well be drinking seltzer water. It's that good.
That's what they sell nowadays. These seltzer infused seltzers.
But it's really, really good. Okay, so first up, we have a Larry Cohen trilogy, the It's Alive trilogy. This one has the original It's Alive, the sequel, It Lives Again, and the third follow-up, It's Alive 3, Island of the Alive. These ranged from 1974 to 1987. I'll tell you what, this It's Alive, I never watched, and I'll tell you why. Because when I was younger, and I would go through the VHS, Blockbuster or whatever, and look at the backs, they had the picture of the baby on the back, and it used to freak the crap out of me. And I would never rent this movie because the picture of the baby scared me so bad on the back. So, but it always intrigued me, so I need to watch these at some point.
Yeah, I want to get this set actually because same here. I think I've seen one of them on cable. I don't know which one though. I think it was the original, but if you look at it though, there's some names of horror in this thing. You got Michael Moriarty again. That Q the Winged Serpent is really stretching through our podcast.
Oh, wait till we get to the summaries of these. They're hysterical.
Yeah, and Karen Black. Of course, one of our favorite trilogy of terrors.
That's right. So let's go through these one by one. So It's Alive. All of these were directed by Larry Cohen. The first one up, It's Alive, starred John P. Ryan, Sharon Farrell, and Andrew Duggan. The Davies expect a baby, which turns out to be a monster with a nasty habit of killing when it's scared. And it's easily scared.
God. And you know how you always watch it, people always show those videos on YouTube where babies get frightened and then go hee hee and then laugh. I don't think that happens here.
No, he just rips your throat out apparently. The next one, It Lives Again, starred Frederick Forrest, Kathleen Lloyd, and John P. Ryan. Again.
So it did. So I know. I was gonna say, shouldn't it be It Lives Still? I don't. But I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. This one's great. An epidemic of mutant monster babies sweeps America.
Now, how does that happen? Is it the same father or something on all these? I don't get it.
I don't know. I'm so ignorant about this movie series. I have no idea what this trilogy's about. And the last one up is It's Alive 3, Island of the Alive. This one starred our friend Michael Moriarty, Karen Black, and Lorene Landon. This is the best synopsis ever. The mutant babies have been placed by court order on a deserted island. Appalled by the cynicism and exploitation of the children by the legal system and the media, the man responsible for them leads an expedition to the island to free them.
Isn't it the plot to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom?
I was just about to say, this is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Okay, come on, Colin Trevorrow. Did you totally rip this movie off? What's going on?
Yeah, really. So, but anyway, this is a nice Shout Factory edition. It has 2K remasters of every film and audio commentaries for all three films. And then they have a variety sprinkling of interviews and featurettes for among the three. So, this looks like a really nice set.
Yeah.
I kind of want to get this one.
Yeah, I think I'll pick this up. I think, and I want to say, I think I saw it for pre-order on Amazon. It wasn't that bad for the three Shout Factory releases. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, that's definitely a contender for my backlog project reward. Finish.
Oh, yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah, I'm making a list of all the ones that might be my first purchase after the backlog's done, so that one's high up there.
Okay, so the next one, for those who love when Tim has trouble pronouncing names, hang on tight for this one. This one should be fun for him.
Oh, fasten your seatbelts for this one. Oh, my gosh. Although this set sounds really intriguing.
It does, actually.
Because I don't believe I've ever seen any, early 70s Japanese horror. That just sounds really cool to me. So anyway, this is the Bloodthirsty trilogy. This consists of 3 movies released between 1970 and 1974. The first one is The Vampire Doll. The second one was Lake of Dracula, which sounds really cool. And the third was Evil of Dracula. This is an Arrow release. These were directed by Michio Yamamoto. And here comes my bad pronunciations. First one up, this one is The Vampire Doll, starring Kaio Matsuo, Akira Nakayo, Atsuo Nakamura. I'm getting better at these, by the way.
Yeah, you are. It's disappointing you got them so good. I don't know.
I know. I need to mess them up on purpose sometimes. Yeah. Kiko and her friend are trying to find her missing brother after he disappeared visiting his girlfriend Yuko. Okay. Not Yoko.
Yeah, Yuko. It says Yuko.
The second one up is Lake of Dracula. This one stars Midori Fujita, Choi Takahashi, and Sanae Imi. A doctor investigates the murders of several women at a lakeside resort. His investigation leads him to believe that a vampire is responsible for the murders. He sets out to track the vampire down.
What gave it away? Like the fang still in her neck? I don't know.
I don't know. This sounds like a Japanese Paul Nashi.
It does. It really does. Like it's got like that kind of like twist to it. Because remember him when he would put Frankenstein in there and be no Frankenstein? So maybe there's not even a Dracula in this.
Yeah, there's not even a lake. Oh
I
my
know.
gosh.
It's just sand.
Anyway.
Okay.
And then next up is Evil of Dracula, starring Toshio Kurosawa, Mariko Mochizuki, and Kuni Tanaka. A teacher assumes a position at a school that's run by a vampire.
What?
So, don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might want to check which school you're applying for.
Yeah, how did they not realize that when the principal came in there and when they asked for his blood sample for the physical, he took it out himself. Didn't that give you a clue? Yeah,
but this was an interesting feature. I don't think we've ever had this on the feature rundown. All of these have newly translated subtitles.
Interesting.
So that was kind of cool.
Yeah. And also, wouldn't he notice that when he went to the principal's office, he came out of a coffin? It's like...
Yeah.
And the fact that school was only at night and you couldn't have school during the daytime. None of these gave him a clue. I don't get it, It's like...
Oh, my gosh. There's no mirrors in the restrooms? I mean, come on.
Yeah. There's lots of clues here.
Yeah. Anyway. The next one up sounds like a Kickstarter from Brian and I.
It does.
This one's called Dr. Blood's Coffin.
Oh, my God.
I love that. Oh, my gosh. 1971. Man, this is a week for 70s movies? I'm like in heaven over here.
Yeah. This is like
Dr. Blood's Coffin. And this is another Shout Factory release. This one's directed by Sidney J. Furie.
Yeah. And do you know what he was also known for? Probably could have been one of the most horrendous movies in a pretty good series of films. He was the man responsible for Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And if you have not seen that like dearly destroyed my childhood, that film. People want to whine about Last Jedi ruining their childhood. Okay, you try growing up with Christopher Reeve as Superman and then you see Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. And you tell me what would ruin a childhood more, please. Oh my God.
Well, you dampened my enthusiasm for this one.
Maybe he's better at horror. I don't know. Because this one was sure horrible in Superman 4. But
this one stars Kieran Moore, Hazel Court, and Ian Hunter. People are mysteriously disappearing near a remote Cornish village where a scientist is experimenting with reviving the dead.
That's actually got a cool, this one seems cool, actually.
Yeah. How many movies have we seen where it's a remote village?
Yeah.
Or a remote Cornish village or something that's like, just stay away from those remote villages.
Well, what is when they mean, I know I'm going to say, I may sound stupid for that. What do they mean by Cornish village?
From, I don't know, it's like in England.
Oh, okay, so it's like, all right. Well, I guess Cornish game hen, I mean, I'm sure it's right? I mean, I don't That's all I can think of.
Okay, here we go. The Cornish people are an ethnic group native to or associated with Cornwall and a recognized national minority in the United Kingdom.
Oh, there you go. Wow, look at that, Tim. I ask it, Tim delivers. There we go.
Yeah, and I did not just look that up. I just plucked it right out of my mind.
I know. Tim's got a wealth of knowledge. You just got to ask for it,
All right, 2000 Maniacs. This is the next
one.
Well,
actually, it's 2000 Maniacs because there's an
2000 Maniacs. Yeah, you have to scream it because there's an exclamation point.
You can't just say it.
And I wonder if this is where that band 10,000 Maniacs got their name from.
Maybe, or maybe where they got the Nightmare on Elm Street. What was it? The bastard son of 1,000 Maniacs, right? I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But this was two of them, so this 2000.
They did get their name. They did get their name from something, and I'm trying to remember if that was. Yes, it was. It was
really from this.
Yes, it's from this movie. Yeah,
that's cool. Good.
And I loved
10,000
Maniacs. Yeah, I loved
yeah.
their music back in the day. Like I loved Natalie Merchant was one of my
Natalie
favorites.
Merchant was great. Yeah, I still have that one that Unplugged. Remember that album?
Mm-hmm.
They did. That was one of my favorite albums. I listened to that thing over and over again.
Her solo album Tiger Lily is one of my favorite
yeah.
albums of all time. Period. It's in my top 5 of all time. So yeah.
And as once in a while we do get off topic if you haven't noticed, right? We went into 10,000 Maniacs.
Well, it's their fault for naming their band after
That's
this
true.
movie.
They should have known that years later that they would distract us and throw us off course.
Oh, this one's from 1964, released by Arrow, directed by Herschel Gordon Lewis, the Gore Hound of the early 60s, starring Connie Mason, William Kerwin, and Jeffrey Allen. 6 people are lured into a small, deep South town for a centennial celebration where the residents proceed to kill them one by one as revenge for the town's destruction during the Civil War.
That's actually a really cool plot, though.
Oh, it's great for our podcast.
Yeah.
Our whole name is based off the Civil War.
I know. But
there you go. We got to watch this one.
This might have to be an actual, full deep dive. Maybe we should do.
Yeah, but here's what's scary, though, is, there's towns down here, Brian, that, I can picture this actually happening.
Oh, really?
There's people still pissed off about the Civil War down here.
Okay,
Yeah. So,
but this is kind of I like, this is, I mean, the fact that it's it seems like a really cool type of premise, though, because it's you see all these reenactments, they have all these all the time, and the fact that, this would probably, at first glance look like a reenactment, but then apparently it's real, so that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to see this one. Next one up is, we're going to get into a little more modern horror here. This one's called Apartment 212. It was released last year. The Blu-ray is going to be released by Gravitas Ventures.
Yay!
This was Yay! This was directed by Halar Garcia, starring Penelope Mitchell, Sally Kirkland, and Kyle Gass.
That like Tenacious D Kyle Gass, I guess.
Oh, you're right.
Right? It's gotta be, right?
Yeah, I didn't even put that together.
Which, by the way, they announced a sequel to The Pick of Destiny.
That's right. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah,
Wow.
they announced the sequel to their movie, so that's going to be cool. So the Tenacious D is coming back.
Oh, I love.
And we love Jack Black, who was based off of Paul Naschy. Naschy, according to Tim, right?
Yeah. Oh, don't listen to anything we say on here. My God, your horror education will be so screwed up.
So wrong, yeah. But Kyle Gass is pretty funny. I like him when he has these small appearances in movies. He was great in Shallow Hal. He was funny. He was that the friend at work. And I thought he was funny in I don't know if you saw that one, Saving Silverman, where he plays he's just a bit role where he's the musician trying to hit on the girl, and he's like, oh, shwa! He does these weird.
I love how he's content to be the teller of Penn and Teller. He's like the quiet. He's like the quiet background guy that the other guys can play off of. He's a straight man.
Yeah, he's great.
I love that he's content in that role. So the synopsis: Jennifer Conrad is a small town girl living in a lonely world.
Is that a preview for a musical episode?
Yeah. God, I hope not. That's a terrible.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, we're gonna nobody's gonna download that episode now. Jennifer Conrad is a small town girl starting over.
Yeah,
I want to say that every time. Oh, damn it, Journey. starting over in the big city. Born and raised in South Detroit. Yeah. Fleeing an abusive relationship, all she wants is a chance to begin again. But it is hard to start over when something is eating you while you sleep, one painful bite at a time.
Oh my God! What the hell?
It's bed bugs.
It is, or the Manitou. I don't know. One of the. What is going on?
Oh my gosh! All right, next up, Platoon of the Dead. It can only get better.
Yeah, because there were no special features, by the way, to
Department. Oh yeah, we're just skipping special features. We're nothing on these. This Platoon of the Dead is from 2009, released by Tempe Digital. And I don't know if we've seen them.
This might be and there's 2 in a row here too. This might be a new release company.
Directed by John Boker, starring Ariana Albright, Tom Stedham, and Chris Keown. 3 soldiers must fight to survive the night in a seemingly abandoned house when a zombie platoon attacks. Oh, another zombie movie. God bless them.
Yeah. They just keep finding other ways. And it's funny, as the topic of our main feature is zombie related, but there was enough of a twist to me. and they did the comedy aspect of it, that it was okay. But yeah, it's like, I mean, they are literally finding. I mean, granted, this was 2009, so I think that was right in the middle when everything was zombie. But so.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I have to keep forgetting that these are a little older.
Yeah, so maybe at the time it was more. It wasn't like, oh, another zombie movie. It was like, wow, another zombie movie. You know. So yeah.
The next one up is Poison Sweethearts, 2008, released again by Tempe Digital, directed by Andrew and Lucas Campbell. So we got a director duo. Even though we didn't get our AKA, we did get our director duo.
Yeah, that's
starring Raymond Turturro, Ashley Holman, and Rosa Hydet. On the depraved streets of Cleveland, young women are dealt hard lives. Okay.
Okay, that sounds like a documentary so far.
Really?
Sorry,
geez.
Cleveland.
Trudging through days of filth, poverty, and crime, they do what they can to survive.
Why is this horror? Can I ask you?
I don't know. Maybe living in Cleveland's horror.
It literally sounds like, it almost sounds like a topic of a documentary, though. It doesn't sound like a...
I looked it up and said horror. It said horror.
And I know Cleveland gets a bad rap, but, you know, it's like, it's the butt of so many jokes with Cleveland. But, like, my favorite one was what was it, Howard the Duck, where he's like, sure, if you live in Cleveland, you know, but, yeah, so I don't know, this just doesn't sound like horror to me.
And it's got a rockin' 3.2 review on IMDb, so...
Oh, so it did well.
Check that one out.
Not.
Yeah. I love, one of the cast is called Sexual Breakdancer.
Oh, wow.
So they cast a sexual breakdancer. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, Poison Sweethearts. Yeah, part of me, the only reason why I want to see it is I want to see where the horror is. Like, what is it like? Is there something that was just really poorly done in the description?
Oh, well, this is great. We don't usually trash movies we haven't seen, but this is too good to pass up. It says, where to start? This movie is so bad for so many reasons, it is unbelievable that they even released it. The tagline, these women can't take anymore. Man, I can't take it anymore. This is awful. The effects, bad blood looks like Dayglow red paint you used when you were a kid finger painting. The stories are poorly made and boring. Green screen everywhere, and it looks like early 70s Hawaii Five-0 stuff. Cutting edge for the time, but come on, we're in the 2000s.
Wait, can I ask you a question? Was Hawaii Five-0 cutting edge at the time? I don't remember that being anything effect-laden of good stuff. I remember it being a cool show, but effects? I don't remember that.
I don't know. That was a user review. That wasn't us. So
I could see Randy Ray Rayford giving that a review like that. You know, with that kind of
thing. My gosh. Yeah, that's pretty funny. But anyway, so that's the Blu-ray releases for May. Where are we at? May 15th. And theatrical releases for today, May 11th, is Revenge. This is a limited release, I believe. It's directed by Coralie Fargiat. Fargiat?
Yeah, your guess is good as mine on that one.
I don't know. I love this name, though. Starring Matilda Anna Ingrid Lutz.
Yeah, they couldn't decide which one to remove, so they gave them all 4.
Yeah. Kevin Janssens and Vincent Colomba. Never take your mistress on an annual guy's getaway, especially one devoted to hunting. A violent lesson for 3 wealthy married men.
I mean, it kind of seems pretty obvious if you're on a guy's weekend anyway. But okay.
It's kind of a fitting release for this week's movie.
Yeah, it kind of fits in nicely. See, LouBou, you must have been you're like a good predictor of what else was coming out, so it fits well. It makes us look like geniuses. We had a theme.
That's right. Well, let's get on to our main feature. Yes. This is the movie Doghouse from 2009, directed by Jake West, starring Danny Dyer, Noel Clarke, Emil Marwa, Ken Ingleby, Keith Lee Castle, and Christina Cole.
Yeah, the reason why I gave so many, I know usually like to put like only 3, but Christina Cole was pretty funny. She was one of my favorite characters in it, even though she was only in it briefly. So I wanted to make sure she got included in the
yeah, and I also have to include Stephen Graham, who I instantly recognized as Al Capone in Boardwalk Empire. Yes. He was fantastic in that. So, in fact, I can't watch him in anything without seeing Al Capone. But he was just so good in that role. The synopsis is: a group of men heading to a remote village to help one of their friends get over his divorce soon discover that all the women have been infected with a virus that makes them man-hating cannibals.
Yes.
So this one is very much a dark zombie comedy in the same vein as Shaun of the Dead, and which is one of my favorite horror comedies of all time. And this one really ranks right up there. It's really, really good. These guys are basically male chauvinist pigs, for lack of a better word.
Yeah,
they're definitely they're definitely your typical womanizer types. And I've seen some criticism of this movie because of that. But you have to keep in mind that basically this is a women getting revenge movie against those type of men. So it's not like they're being rewarded for their behavior.
They're not. And in fact, if you think about it, it's like they try and like one of them I think is trying to say how he's not that way, and there's like that one guy is all arrogant, like, oh, women love me, and that's like a running joke throughout the movie. And even like when and what I gotta say is all of that stuff kind of builds up into the payoff that some of the best parts of this movie is that they do kind of get what's coming to them a couple of times, and it's like, and it's pretty much like that one scene with the guy where when they like, he goes, we'll use you as bait, and he goes, why? And they all go, because women love you, it's like he got his own words thrown back in his face, it's stuff like that. And then he kind of gets it pretty bad when he's when he's being attacked by that giant woman who's like making like finger cake or whatever. It's like
so basically this virus hits all the women in the village, none of the men, and turns them basically into zombies, although they're very clear in the beginning of the movie. There's some foreshadowing where this kid is reading an Evil Dead comic book.
Right.
He makes a mistake of calling them zombies, and the guy's like, no, they're not zombies. And so I think that's kind of the take on this film, is that maybe they're not really quote-unquote zombies, but they're virus-infected type monsters, and they have a very Evil Dead look about them.
Yeah.
In fact, like their makeup. So you could tell this movie was heavily, heavily inspired by Evil Dead.
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, the comic was called Evil Dead that he had in his hand. I mean...
Right, yeah.
So,
it was a complete homage to Evil Dead, so that was great. I loved that. And if you're gonna pay tribute to a movie, what better movie to pay tribute to than that?
Oh my God!
It's a classic.
I mean, yeah, and this one did it in a unique way that it was almost while that sequence was kind of in your face of it, like, hey, look, the comic's Evil Dead. The rest of it was kind of like little subtle homages throughout. With that, some of the gore was so comical that it kind of, which was one of, I think, the signature things of Evil Dead. That was so great. It was so over the top sequences that it was comical, especially Evil Dead 2 when you got into that one.
Right. Yeah. So these guys basically get trapped in this village, and they're basically the bulk of the movie is them just trying to get out,
right,
and escape. So it's basically just an extended zombie chase / fight sequence, which is fine because which is kind of what Shaun of the Dead did as well.
Yeah.
But it just has that same quirky British humor that I absolutely love. Like, I am a total British television movie buff. Like, I love any kind of British humor, any kind of British movie actors. I eat that stuff up.
Oh yeah, I
love all of it.
Like, you love Fawlty Towers, right? And
yes,
like in Benny Hill, I used to love. I mean, like all that stuff I like grew up on. So it's like, yeah, it's stuff like that. And this is obviously a little more modern version of it, of course, but it's yeah, no, and it's something about I love like those. It reminded me, the beginning kind of reminded me of the one, what did we see? It was The Ritual. Remember where they like, there's the bunch of guys going off on like a trip together in some remote area.
Right, yeah.
And it's like, you could just, it does a great job, and especially even this one, even though it's slanting towards the comedic throughout, it still has this like good way of kind of slowly like bringing like this dread feeling, like there's something's gonna go wrong. It's just like from the guy like finally admits, well, yeah, my aunt doesn't really know we're coming, we're just kind of hopefully we'll get into her house, she's away, and then it's and just the fact that like they come across the what was it, a dead goat, I guess, in the
like a sheep or something,
road, and a blockage thing, which was, remember, again, like the Evil Dead, remember where they would try and escape and the thing would be blocked in the road. So there's a couple little nods there, and but I do have a question. I don't know if I missed the an explanation of this, but so didn't at one point, I could have sworn when they were discovering it, they said something. That one guy said it was in the detergent that they were all using.
Right, yes.
So how did the bus driver get infected? In theory, if it was that detergent they were all using, how did she get infected?
I don't mean, unless she got bit, maybe. I don't know, but she wouldn't have gotten bit because only the women didn't attack
they didn't attack other
right?
women. That's why they one used it. Remember when they dressed up to escape? So I'm like wondering, and it's like, and it's funny. I hate when I find like a thing that could be considered a plot hole, especially in a movie like this, which, you know what, the plot is very basic, and, you know, it's not about the plot so much other than just the fun of this movie to me. So it was great, and it didn't bother me, but it was more of a just thinking about it, because I think, and I didn't even notice it as I was watching it. I think I was telling it to Julie, and I was telling her what I had watched, and I was like, yeah, and it was like, and I'm like, you know, now that I think about it, I don't know why the bus driver got infected. But still, it does, even with something like that. I mean, maybe they explained it in a line and I just didn't catch it, or maybe something about the I don't know, the detergent was in the air. Maybe it could have been. I don't know. Either way, it's still, to me, it's such a minor thing that it works, and you don't care because you expected it to happen anyway. Like, it was a couple of things. I mean, either way, it's a minor thing, and I feel bad even mentioning it because I actually really enjoyed the movie, and I loved, actually, one of my favorite line is like, when they meet the army guy, and he's like sitting there, he's like, well, how do you expect us to get out of here? And he goes, well, you go on the bus that you came on. He goes, no, we can't, because bad candy's on there. Because they named her Candy, and her name was really Ruth. Yeah. But yeah, it was great.
And I love the little joke where they were talking about it's a women's only disease, and he says something like, what's it called? Bird flu.
Oh yeah.
A little British bird.
Yeah. I mean,
bird
that's the thing. It was like the characters, as much as you like really should despise them because of their, you know, their ways, but this is something like they made you, they're enjoyable. Like, you know, all the characters are enjoyable in their own way, you know. They were kind of funny, and just, you know, there's a little like definitely some slapstick stuff in there, and it's like, yeah, so, and it's one of those movies where you can just sit there and not have to know even any of the backstory of the character. It's just a fun movie to watch, you know. It's just enjoyable as it plays out, you know. It's like, and you know, it doesn't really need a heavy plot to carry it either.
No, it doesn't. It's just a fun movie. It's full of that. Like I said, it's full of British humor. It's full of great. I mean, it's still got great gore effects.
Oh,
don't get me wrong. Like when it turns on the horror, it really turns it on, which is the best. As we've said many times before on this show, it's what the best horror comedies do. Is they're funny, but they're also really extreme horror when it counts.
Yeah.
So and that's what makes it good.
Yeah, one. And I know one of the other, like, you know, it's like funny how they, even with their you know, the wasn't very complex character development. It was very, very, you know, basic stuff, but one of the ones, like, in the middle of it all, their misogynistic ways come back when they're all talking about, well, if they had to be with one of these zombie women, which one would they be? And the guy's like, I like the one with the axe, and they're all like, well, she's married because she's walking around in like the wedding dress, you know. It's just stuff like that. It's like, to me, that's like a brilliant line to throw in there, you know. It's so, it's like such a, like you know, a line you could like blink and miss it, but it's great because that whole sequence like builds, you know, it's like they stayed misogynistic through and through, you know.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that probably rewards repeat viewings. Another example of that, like, real subtle British humor is when there's like one point where he's like barricading himself inside of a door, and he like closes the door and he like puts like this little trash bin.
Oh.
Like, it's not going to stop it at all. Like, but he just shoves it in front of the door. It was just one of those little tiny little throwaway moments that was just hilarious to me.
Yeah. And like the little things, like with the where he gives him, remember, he makes this whole complicated gun system, and the lighter is like, that guy's lighter keeps making the theme, you know. It's obviously his important lighter, and he like everyone keeps coming up with it for him, like finding it, because it'll drop it. But the thing is, remember, he grabs this big complex gun system he makes up, and the other guy's, well, where's mine? He goes, I only had one. And then he gives him that little one. He goes, here, this will make you feel sexy. And he gives him this little tiny water pistol. It's like little stuff like that. It makes you can't not enjoy this movie. It's like one of those ones.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, and I know we've said so many times, enough with the zombies. Now, granted, this was 2009. Again, like just that other one we said, it was kind of in the heyday of it. But even now, I guess maybe because I haven't really seen one in a while, but I'm like, you know, if it had enough of a twist on the genre that it made it still pretty appealing to me. And, like, you know, and it didn't feel like a tired old formula, which really, if you look at the basics, it's just another zombie film. But they did enough twist and enough great humor in it to make it really seem a little bit fresh, you know?
Yeah, and what a great way to play off the sexism angle of it being only female zombies, where you put these kind of chauvinistic guys in there to play off of that. Like, I really thought that was brilliant. I mean, you could have done that same movie and with that same gimmick of, only one gender is a zombie, and not had that other extreme to play off of, it wouldn't have worked nearly as well.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, that was like a good touch to make them really, really like just like these chauvinistic, like really like unlikable people. But you found out, but you ended up liking them throughout it because it was so, again, it was like the gore, and like it was so over the top that it was almost like to the, that's how it works. That's what made it work.
So yeah, me and Olivia we're binge watching The Crown right now on Netflix, and we were just talking about how much we would love to go to England because we both are just fascinated with that the whole thing, everything. I just love everything about any kind of British media or whatever. I just want to go. I just want to visit there so bad.
And just watch TV.
Yeah, I'll just go over there and watch BBC all day.
Yeah. Well, we get BBC like on my FiOS, so I got to watch that more.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna plan. Because Olivia's probably not going to ever listen to this episode, so I'll let you know a secret. But I think I'm going to plan a 20th anniversary trip to England.
Oh, nice.
Because that will be in 4 years. The kids will be old enough to make that flight over there without any problem. And I just think that'd be a really cool anniversary just to surprise her.
Oh, yeah, no, that'd be great.
Big England trip. That'd be awesome. So,
and I will not say a word. I will be hush-hush.
Yeah, so that's on the kind of the pre-planning right now, so I got to get over.
And hopefully we'll still be doing podcasts then, and then Tim can do his England review.
Yeah, there you go.
Get tour some of the sites that we're seeing in some horror movies.
All right, so for our beer pairing this week, Brian had to ask my permission because he thought we might get in trouble for this. But
wives approved.
Yeah, the wives approved of this, and because of the subject matter of the movie, I think this was a perfect beer pairing.
Yes.
And I don't think anyone should take offense at it because it's in keeping with the spirit of the movie.
No, right.
So I'll let you take it away there,
So,
Brian.
First of all, the movie's called Doghouse, so I went looking for dog-type beers in there, and I came up with Flying Dog, and then instantly said, oh my god, I know my Flying Dogs very well, and of course one of their signature beers is Raging Bitch. So I'm like, once I saw that, I'm like, oh my god! Somehow I thought I was gonna have trouble with this beer pairing, and somehow I might have hit possibly our best one.
This might be the second best beer pairing. Jeez, this might be the second best beer pairing aside from the clown one we did.
Yeah, that's true. This might be it. But so anyway, for those of you who haven't had Raging Bitch, first of all, it really is a delicious beer. Flying Dog does a lot of great stuff. And this one it's 8.3%. It's an American IPA. So it's got caramel malts, Warrior, Columbus, and Amarillo hops, and El Diablo yeast. And I'll read the description because it's kind of funny the way they wrote it. It says, the American IPA hoppiness of pine and grapefruit, or the exotic fruit, Belgian funk of Raging Bitch can be brought out with food. It says, try this bitch with wasabi, ginger, jerk, Cajun, or cayenne spice. Tangy cheese with fruit, think brie with orange marmalade, or dark chocolate. So basically, I said, this thing can pair with a lot of stuff, apparently, So so I think this was, this one, I don't think we could have got a better beer based off of this particular movie.
Yeah, that reminds me of the Stone I also posted on Instagram, which was the Scorpion Tail, I believe. That one was really good. That had an interesting description. They were trying to make a tropical IPA without the fruit.
Wow.
So they got the fruit flavor from the hops. They used a particular type of hops to kind of simulate the fruit flavor. And it was really, really good because, a lot of tropical IPAs, they kind of over-fruit it.
Yeah.
So you kind of get too much of that. Whereas this one was like, you had all that hoppiness and then you just had this really subtle overtone of that fruit flavor that just gave it just enough to make it really delicious without being overbearing. So it was really, really good.
I know.
I like that
well, Stone, you really is one of. There's certain.
You can't go wrong.
Yeah, there's just certain breweries out there that, you know what? I mean, yeah, they may be, more mainstream now than they are like, craft beer. They're still craft beer, but more than those small craft breweries, which now are the thing. It's the smaller ones, but. And they may more, but you know what? It's nice to have a good, solid go-to. Even I for a while, Flying Dog was one of my go-tos because it was. I remember when it was pretty new and it was coming out, and they were coming out with a whole bunch of different things. They make some great ones around Halloween time, so that's good. And yeah, so it's like, they have a couple of good pumpkin ones. So that's like one of my go-tos. Stone also, New Belgium. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones out there that you can go to in a pinch. So
yeah, and I'm not a big enough beer snob that I'm gonna shy away from them just because you can get them in a grocery store, for example.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
I don't have. It's a pain in the ass to go try to get to a bottle shop, and the kind of money you're paying and stuff. Sometimes, if you want to just grab something on the go on the weekend, just to have around the house, there's plenty of good like mainstream breweries, and I think we've said on the show before, we've gotten to the point now where almost all craft beer is good.
Yeah.
At some level.
Yeah.
They've reached a point where it's hard to find bad craft beer.
Yeah.
So.
And it's like right, you said like money, right? Like the can I'm having now, it's almost $6 for one can. It was, granted, it's a really good one. It's Interborough, Pipeworks, and Run the Jewels, a triple collaboration. And Interborough is a big one in our area. Pipeworks is out of Chicago. They make the Ninja vs. Unicorn and Little Citra, which was two of my favorites. And Run the Jewels I have not heard of. But anyway, this is called Like a Panther. It's a stout, and it is fantastic. And so it's, but like Tim was saying, it's like to get, sometimes you'll buy like a can. One can will run you like $6. It's like, I can imagine being a college student or something and trying to get into craft beer. It's good that there are beers like Stone where you can get a whole pack for the price of one,
Right, yeah, exactly. So. The other thing I like about Stone is they have a lot of their big 22-ounce ones for reasonable. Like one of my favorite Stone, the Tangerine IPA.
Oh yeah,
you can get that for $6. You can get that one for $6 all day long, the big bottle, which is not bad. So I like that they have, and then you could buy expensive Stones as well. So they have this big variety. So if you're in the mood for something really, really nice, you can pay really, really nice prices. Or if you just want something to sit around with on the weekend, they have those kind of budget lines, I would call them, which was the Scorpion Tail was one of those as well. But for $6, you can pick up and have a really nice evening with. To me, they're perfectly good.
Yeah, no, they're great. I love like their Enjoy buys. They just have a good variety. They for a craft brewery, they run the gamut of types and tastes and levels of what you're willing to pay. So it's like there's something for everybody, really.
Yep.
It's the craft brewery for the people.
That's right.
For everybody.
All right, so in our 6 degrees of decapitation last week...
I just always laugh at this one.
Oh my gosh, this one's so crazy. So, we asked you to connect Chuck Connors to Chuck Wepner. So, geez.
It was on the other day again, by the way, that movie Chuck.
Oh, yeah, great. Chuck Connors was in Pancho Villa with Anne Francis. Anne Francis was in Little Vegas with Jay Thomas. And Jay Thomas was in The Gig with Chuck Wepner, who played the driver.
Yeah. So it's a small little cameo role. And when actually, if this was, I don't know how true the biopic was, but in the Chuck Wepner biopic, Chuck, that's been on cable a lot, which pretty much probably put this in my head. That's why he was in there. He was actually supposed to be in Rocky 2 as, I don't know if the main villain or one of the main opponents before, I guess he had the rematch with Apollo or something. And I guess he was kind of at that point he was starting to have his drug issues and he couldn't get the lines, so they kind of wrote him out of it. Is the way the movie portrayed. But I tell you though, the best part about this movie is the guy they got for Stallone. Oh my God, he is like, you could not have cast him better if it was actually Sylvester Stallone.
Really?
Yeah, the guy.
That seems like that'd be a hard one to cast.
It would, and it's funny when they first showed it. They had it was this long shot, and you see this guy that they got the physical look of him, from far away. You're like, okay, if they get close, maybe it will look like him, and he does his, yo, Chuck, like that, kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, all right, this could be big. And when then they go in, and there's actually this guy's in it for a while as Sylvester Stallone. He is so good at that. I'm like, oh my God, they nailed this with this guy. And he just goes, oh, we're supposed to be working here. He does this whole line where he keeps doing it, and it's so good how much he's like Sylvester Stallone.
That was Morgan Spector.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if they ever need to go back to young Rocky in one of his movies without special effects, just grab this guy. He's almost like, okay, do you remember the guy that was they actually used him as a young Harrison Ford in that movie, The Age of Adeline, and everyone thought he'd be perfect for young Han Solo. His name is
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh God, whatever his name, I forgot his name. Like Aaron Ingebro or something. I'm probably butchering his name, but anyway, and remember he did the Han Solo voice in the scenes, and he was dead on. It's like 5 times as good as that. That's how much better.
I want to look that up. Because he was also in Boardwalk Empire. He played Frank Capone.
Oh, really?
Believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. How's that tying things back?
I bet you if you look YouTube up like Chuck and then like, Stallone scene, you'll see how good it is.
I'll have to look that up.
It's really impressive.
Cool. So this week we're going to ask you to connect one of the stars of Doghouse, Danny Dyer, to Natalia Dyer from Stranger Things, who of course played Nancy in Stranger Things. And we can do that in 2 steps.
Yeah. I was so disappointed.
Wow.
I was like, oh, this is going to be hard. But no, I forgot Danny Dyer's in a lot of stuff. And
yeah.
I didn't think, I thought Natalia Dyer would be the tougher part, though, at the same time, because, I don't know much about her other than Stranger Things, and I think I saw her in one other thing, but...
And she's young, so she can't be in too many things.
Yeah, so, I mean, I tell you, this site is like that oracle of bacon, man. It finds everything.
So, I have no idea what we're doing next week. We're going to have another open week, so if you guys have any suggestions... Yeah. Let us know.
I know we have we want to do Happy Birthday to Me during my birthday week, and I know we talked about magic in there, but I still think we have one more week we need for May, right? If I'm correct.
Right. Yeah, I think so. If you guys, you'd have to get it in like the day this episode drops.
Yeah.
Or at least the Saturday after it drops. But if you could get them in, like some suggestions in quick, we could probably squeeze it in because I usually don't watch mine until Sunday.
Yeah. So you got some extra time, but also we'll tweet it out. We'll tweet out the, hey, get a suggestion since LouBou was very helpful this week, and we'll have to put her Twitter thing Twitter account in there so you can follow her.
Yeah. Thanks, LouBou, for the great suggestion. Really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, I'm glad because it's one I probably would not have seen. I may have stumbled upon it, but yeah, I'm glad. I didn't know this even existed, so I'm glad. This was a fun movie. It's definitely one of my favorite zombie horror films. So
yeah, cool. All right. Well, guys, we'll wrap it up there. Kind of a shorter show this week, and we'll see you back here next week.
Somehow we got the shorter show. Yes, and look out for bad candy.